and trading at the Chicago Board of Trade in 1877 and is the largest agricultural futures contract in the world. For those who may be interested in trading corn futures or corn options, a bit of background on this market may be beneficial. This module provides an overview of the corn cash market, including its production, transportation, and uses. Corn is grown in practically all of the temperate and tropical regions of the world, in conditions ranging from below sea level to 12,000 feet above sea level. From the arid and semi-dry plains of Russia and North Africa to the subtropical regions of Florida, it is grown in countries with as little as 8 inches of annual rainfall, like Morocco, as well as areas with over 200 inches of rainfall, such as parts of India. Growing season ranges from the very short time frame in Quebec of 5 months to the 9-month season in tropical Colombia. While corn is grown in nearly every state of the U.S., production is concentrated in the central portion of the country, called the Corn Belt. About 95% of the corn grown is dent corn, which is named for the indentation in the corn kernel caused by shrinkage of the starch. It is grown extensively in the Midwest and is traded in both the cash and futures markets. Planting in the Corn Belt begins in the southern states as early as March, in the Corn Belt by late April, and is completed in the northern areas by the end of May. Maximum growth is achieved in the main corn-producing areas by late August, and harvest begins in early October. By mid-November, most of the corn has been harvested. A variety of conveyances come into play when corn is transported from the field at harvest to where it will ultimately be used. It goes from the farm field to the country elevator by truck. From there, it moves by rail from the country elevator to a domestic user. Corn that will be exported outside of the U.S. moves from the country elevator to a river shipping station by truck or rail, depending on distance. Despite corn's popularity on the dinner table, in terms of usage, approximately 47% of the U.S. corn crop is actually used for livestock feed. Another 13% is exported. Human food use accounts for 10%, and approximately 30% of the U.S. crop is used to produce ethanol. Ethanol is considered a low-cost liquid transportation fuel. Dry millers in the U.S. account for more than 50% of the ethanol produced in the world, which is then exported to about 50 countries. Approximately 1/3 of the byproduct that is generated by the ethanol process becomes animal feed, and most often in the form of distillers' grains, corn gluten feed, and corn gluten meal. Although only 10 to 20% of the U.S. corn production is exported, the U.S. is the world's largest corn exporter. As the global population grows and the consumer demand for meat products alongside it, this will in turn increase the demand for feed grain exports. After livestock feeders, the wet miller is the largest consumer of corn in the U.S., processing it into starches, sugars, syrups, oils, alcohols, and animal feed. At every stage of the corn production chain, from planting, growing, and harvest to processing and exporting, each market participant faces the risk of adverse price movements caused by the vagaries of the market and supply and demand. Corn futures and corn options provide a means to manage this risk, as well as to take advantage of potential profit opportunities.